Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Profitable Salon Owner podcast. Here with me on today is Jason Everett. We're going to be talking
What's
about
up?
AI and all things about AI. If you've heard about it, comment AI in the chat. If you have not yet heard about AI, comment have not yet heard about, or you've probably heard about it, but whether or not you have dived into it is a completely different story. So today we're going to talk about AI, what it looks like, what we found in it, and how it is going to apply to the salon industry. So Jason, tell me, what has been your experience with AI? When did you first hear about AI?
Yeah, so AI, just to clarify, so AI is artificial intelligence. I know that sounds silly to define for some people, but some people are like, "What the hell is AI? What are you talking about? Are you talking about alpha information? Like, what's the deal?" AI, artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is what's now starting to be used in the workplace. Starting back, and again, some people may just not be aware, but like at the beginning of 2023. They rolled out some really interesting artificial intelligence. In fact, at the end of last year, some people might be familiar with what's called the DALL, DALLE, where like people had like all these photos were going around the internet of people like sharing like all these like, this is me in space, this is me here, this is me there. Like people started doing that, right? And even actually my profile image for my Facebook page and my Instagram right now is a AI generated image. And so that kind of like got started. People were like, that looks fun. And then they rolled out this thing called ChatGPT, which is this really fascinating tool that allows you to have a conversation with basically an artificial intelligence. Now, this artificial intelligence has access to tons of information that's all from the internet, circa like 2011 forward, something like that. It doesn't like have all ancient information. I know Molly and our team was like, "What? Well, nothing before 2011 mattered." I thought that was funny, right? But like, it was just this idea of like, look, it has access to lots of information, all kinds of really incredible things, and so we were able to kind of like ask it to do things and have questions and like ask it like, hey, can you write a book report for me? Can you finish an essay? And so like, it's funny. I have this gal who works for me in my house, and she was saying like, oh yeah, no, I've been using it for school. And she's like, no, I've been turning in essays. And I'm like, it's just that reminder of like, people are going to start to use this chat tool to do work for them. At some capacity. Now, in a salon, having it do work for you, you don't have to write a damn essay. And so you're like, well, Jason, it's not cutting hair, so I don't think it's coming from my job, right? And I was just on a thing earlier saying this, is that ChatGPT or artificial intelligence is not coming for your job. But somebody who knows how to use artificial intelligence is coming for your job or your business. So let me just say this. If you're a business owner and you're not using AI, there's another business owner or salon owner out there who's going to use AI, and they're going to smoke you. They're going to smoke you because they know how to use it. So when you're like, I don't know how these people are getting so much done, it's because they're probably using some type of artificial intelligence to do things and feel like they have octopus arms. They're getting a million things done. That you're like, how are they so productive? It's because they're using artificial intelligence. Does that help frame today?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. It's funny because when you're talking about like helping with schoolwork, I remember like plagiarism was such a big thing. And I remember I didn't know anything about
plagiarism is a whole deal. Yeah, for sure.
But like, and just how people are going to be able to utilize that and things.
Well, and I just don't want to talk about that because there are legal and moral and ethical implications. And as soon as I start talking about AI, people are like, shut it down. It's going to take over the world. Like, I don't live on the plane of like, when the internet came out, everybody thought it was the death of the world. When the wheel was invented, people were like, who are those people? When the car came out, they're like, the cars are going to murder everybody. Like, can I just remind everybody that when new technology comes out, usually there's a level of people who are resistant to it.
Yeah.
Do I think that AI can take over the world? I mean, sure. We've all seen Terminator. Like, we know how that movie ends. Like, it's possible, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to know what's going on with artificial intelligence, so that if I do think at one point the robots are going to take over, and if you've seen, whatever it was, I can't remember the movie was, the 2000 movie where like, how like the computer takes over and won't let you out of your own house, like that kind of thing. It's possible, but like, I don't think it's probable. And I think we're going to put some fail safes in place, and like, we need to be aware of what's going on. So I'd rather be the guy who knows what the hell is happening with it instead of the dude who sticks his head in the sand like an ostrich and goes, it's all got to go away. Cause that dude doesn't get anywhere. That dude gets run over by a bus. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
good. Yeah, you said
So
something interesting how, like, yeah, people are resistant to everything that's new and everything gets invented, but it is here and there's nothing we can do about it. And it's going to
yeah,
keep evolving. I mean, this is just, we were talking about this earlier, how it's like, it's just the beginning. Like, we're going to be like, remember when AI came out? Remember when it began? And then in 10 years from now, it's going to be a part of our everyday life. And it's going to just keep
right.
evolving from here. And
Some
so jump on
people
the
it
train.
is. Some people right now it's already a part of their everyday life. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been using it every single day, and I think it's crazy to me to like start to think what didn't exist 3 months ago. Like that's such
Yeah.
a weird thing. That's why we're doing an artificial intelligence class right now. All about AI and how to use it inside the salon and all those things.
Yeah.
And we're doing it live right now. And then for people who want to get the class later, you'll be able to buy it and go back and rewatch it. We're in it right now. We're super deep.
Yeah,
And
if you want information on that class, drop class in the comments and I can get you more
I'm happy
information
to
on
give
that.
you that. Yeah, and I just want to say if you haven't seen, I don't know if I can share it, but at least tell you about it. There's something called, and Kayla, I don't know if you've even seen this. It's called the technology adoption life cycle. Have you ever seen that before? It's
No.
like it's a curve. It's a really cool thing. I don't think I can show it right now, but maybe we can see if we get it up on the screen. But anyway, it's a bell curve. You know what a bell curve is, right? Like it looks like a
Yep.
bell, starts small, goes up, comes down. Anyway, on the beginning of the bell curve, it's called the innovator section. And the innovator section is the people who jump onto things in early phase. It's the people who like get the latest cell phone the day it comes out, the newest camera. These are the people who had Google Glass glasses. And even though that didn't make it, like they bought them before it and they were like, I'm the coolest kid on the block. And you're like, nope, didn't make it. Sucks to be you. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Then after the like early adopters, the innovators that like are making the tech and like using it right away. Then there's the early adopters. So forgive me. Innovators are the people making it. Early adopters are the people who are trying it, like the people who bought Google Glass. They're like, they're the first customers. They're going to buy it, even if it's not cool yet, even if it's early, even if it's whatever. Then after those people prove that it works or not, then there's this section, the larger part of the bell curve is what's called the early majority. People who are like, hey, I have some friends who have it. There's a lot of people that like have it around me now. And like I would say ChatGPT right now has moved into early majority phase. Most people have heard about it. It's like around, people are like, okay, people are talking about it, offices, students are using it. Like we're in early majority phase of ChatGPT. Then you have late majority. Those are the people that are like, I don't think this is going to work. It's going to go away soon. And then they're like, damn it, I have to use it now. Like it's like it's life almost becomes impossible to not use it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like life starts getting set up and you're like, all right, fine. Like I'll use it. And then there's the laggards. These are the people that like their life becomes impossible without it. Like I still have a couple friends, like a handful of friends that are still not on social media and they're trying to like take that to their death that they won't use social media ever. And like now their job is starting to make them use it and all these, and like they're still fighting it. Those are laggards. But I remember when the iPhone first came out, like when people when did you get an iPhone? Were you an iPhone user at like iPhone 3 or 4? Did you get it on iPhone 1? Like that'll kind of help you figure it out. And I think right now, again, we're in the early majority phase for GPT, which is why I said it's time to do a course because we're in the early majority setup, if that makes sense.
Connecting with people, get it out there. And I think it's true because like, as you had said earlier, salon owners are like, well, how is this going to apply to the salon? Like we work with people and that's like a computer-based thing. And so it's really cool how you've come up with a way to demonstrate and show like, okay, here is AI and it can be utilized for many things, but let me take you down the path of how it can fit into your salon and bring in all those tools. So we're going to talk about that coming up after.
Can I say something about that for 1 sec? Is that salon owners traditionally are in that downward curve on the other side, the late majority. Salon owners typically, I don't mean to generalize all salon owners, don't be mad at me guys, but like salon owners typically for technology are on the late majority side. They're on the late majority because they're not using their computer. I mean, like the owners may be using their computer often, but like their staff is using their cell phone more than they're using a laptop. They're usually in the late majority of technology adopters or in the laggard phase. Like I know a lot of salons that are laggards. So don't get me wrong. There's always salons that are early adopters, but the way I like to look at it is I'm an early adopter. Most salons are late majority adopters. And so my job is to get people to push their tech forward because there's ways they can do it. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's cool that you take the information, you're like learning, like, I'm passionate about this and I'm really interested in doing it for myself. And then as you're
I'm
discovering
using it.
what has been like the biggest, and like AI specifically, what's been the biggest mind blowing thing that you've discovered in terms of AI?
Ready to transform your business and improve your salon's profitability? With Lonza's 3-in-1 technology and intermixable shades, your hair color inventory is streamlined with limitless creativity behind the chair. Click the link below to unveil the secret to salon success.
I remember asking my grandma one time when she was about 80 years old, I said, Grandma, what's been the craziest invention that's
Wow.
existed in your lifetime?
For sure.
And she's like, and she pointed to my cell phone. And this is when we had like Palm Pilot phones, you know, where you could like text with your phones. It was, we moved out of flip phones into like Palms. And I remember she was like, that is crazy. And like, she didn't even realize that the internet was on it.
Yeah.
She just said the fact that you can have a phone in your pocket and move around the planet with a phone in your pocket, she thought that was the craziest thing that it wasn't attached to the wall.
So crazy.
And like, what I would say about ChatGPT is not necessarily like, what's the craziest thing I've asked it? It's just that it exists. Like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but just that it exists, that I'm like, there's a thinking model that I can interact with and this is the part of it, is that I'm teaching it at the same time it's teaching me is the weirdest part. Is like, I have to educate it and it's educating me about how to work with it in real time. It's the closest, and that's why it's called artificial intelligence. It's the closest thing to actually interacting with another person. Because Kayla, like when you and I work together, when we both start working together, we have to figure out our relationship together of like, what's my communication style, like we have to figure out all those things and like deal with it. And like, we're very used to doing that as people, but this is the first time you've had to figure out a technology that you learn from it, it learns from you. That's the craziest thing. And what I think most people are doing is they're thinking it like a website, like, let me look it up. And most people are still thinking it like Google search, like it has information. So if I just tell it to do something, it'll just do something. I'm like, no, you have to learn to interact with it like a person.
That's right.
And so that's what I would say is the craziest thing, not what it has the capacity to do, because just like when we had iPads, I'm going to go on a tirade for a second. When we got iPads, this is a really important thing. I got not the first gen iPad, but the second gen iPad. I think it was iPad 2 that I got. Okay. Early adopter. I literally got the iPad and I was like, holy crap. We don't even know what we're holding yet. We don't even know what we're holding. We have no clue what we're holding in our hands. And so I started an app development company immediately after buying an iPad and wrote software and code for iPads because I was like, this is going to change everything. And it did. Now, crazy enough, I basically wrote a software program at the beginning of the iPad's life that probably would do really well now, but I wrote it 4 years early because remember, I'm an early adopter and it was the wrong time. So I am still early on ChatGPT, but what I'll tell you is that always gives me experience because I am an early adopter. I've been using an iPad way longer than most people. And you know how I use an iPad. Most people are like, holy crap, how do you even do that? I'm like, because I was early. So GPT, same thing. I'm early. I want the experience more than anybody else. That's what I'm there for.
Yeah. So you're following it through. All right, we got to take a commercial break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about AI and how it's going to start to play into the salon industry and your salon and how it's going to be an assistant that you cannot imagine. So stick with it. Stick with us. We'll see you in a second.
Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. Use promo code HPSA for your first 2 months free. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
Welcome back to the Profitable Salon Owner podcast. Again, we have Jason here talking about AI. We are going to start diving into AI and how it's going to be impactful in the salon industry. I know that there's some hesitancy. We work in the salon industry. We hear from people how they're like, I don't know how it's going to work. So we're going to talk about how specifically AI is going to impact your salon industry. So Jason, tell me about that. Tell me what you found and how. I know you're right in the middle of a course right now talking about AI in the salon industry. So talk to me about what kind of things you found as you're doing that course.
Well, I want to say this, first of all, like we were talking about before the break, is that, and again, I want to mention something because on the break, we talked about Salon Scale. Like Salon Scale is a tool we've been talking about for a long time.
Yeah.
That used to be an early adopter phase. Now it's kind of in late majority. Like if you don't use a profitable, we call it a profitable back bar system. You can use Salon Scale or other tools. We're a huge fan of Salon Scale. You're now in the late majority for using a color back bar management system. So get on it is all I want to say. Because if you're not using one, you're doing it wrong. And again, even if you're using a scale system, you might not be doing it the same way that we are. I would say that in and of itself is almost an artificial intelligence tool because it gives you optics on things that you used to have to do manually. And I think it's worth mentioning this, right? Because, you know, if you had to sit and like literally measure and write everything down on a pad and notepad and whatever, you would never do it because
hold it in your head.
It just is so much work and you have to keep it all in your mind and whatever. Artificial intelligence is now allowing you to do that with lots of other areas inside the salon. And we are in the infancy of what we can do inside the salon. So even as I'm talking about these things, what I've been observing, because not only am I did I write this course on it that we're going through right now, but I've been watching how salon owners are playing with AI. So I'm going to tell you, if you haven't played with it yet, all you need to do is go to chat.openai.com. I think that's the website. I have it saved on my computer, so I'll have to double check. But chat.openai.com. I did get it right. And set up an account. It's free. Use your Google account to sign in, and it'll save and log all of your different AI threads, at least for ChatGPT. There's a bunch of other ones. Start with that. It's a really great place to go play. And we're talking about there's 3,000 new tools that have been rolled out literally in the last 3 months. Like, that's crazy. 3,000 tools in 3 months. And it's just insane because it's like replicating itself. It's a whole thing. So here's what I've observed most salon owners do. The easiest place that most people are using artificial intelligence or AI inside their salon is for writing marketing copy. Most salon owners by default are not great writers. I am not a great writer either, right? Like, I wrote my book and it took me like 4 years to write a book. That's because I'm not great at writing. And like salon owners, like, that's my Achilles heel. And so it took me a long time. That book was not written by AI. To clarify, that was written by Jason, not AI, okay? I may write some new books, though, with the assistance of AI, okay? And I'm working on that right now. There's some cool stuff that we're doing on that. Again, we wrote some posts on it they're AI related. So a lot of salon owners right now are using it to write marketing copy, okay? That's step one. I've also seen a lot of salon owners that are starting to use it for things like, if you get a bad Yelp review or Google review, and salon owners are like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. They're like, hey, ChatGPT, how would you reply to this? And they cut and paste the bad review. How could you respond? And you use something called a prompt, okay? And a prompt is, you would say, you would, instead of just saying like what most people do, which is like, I got a bad review, how would you respond? That's a poor ask. That's like if you're just going on Google and saying, how do I do something? And Google spits out a bunch of answers. Here's how AI works, okay? Instead of just asking it a question and hoping that someone on the internet solved it for you, because that's what we do when we search, right? We search how to tie a tie or how to tie our shoes or whatever, and then somebody put out a YouTube video on how to tie your shoes. And there's probably 30 people that put out a YouTube video on it, and there's all these cool little tips and tricks. Or maybe it'll find you a TikTok video that somebody goes, whip the lace around and do this thing, and it's got some crazy trick thing to do.
Bunny ears, run through the hole.
You hope that another human being has solved the problem for you, and you can find an answer that somebody else already answered, cataloged, and posted a cool video about. Right? There's a besides YouTube, there's a video platform called Howcast. It's called Howcast. I had a friend who used to make all these videos on Howcast, and on Howcast, the way it worked was they would actually get paid to make a bunch of how-to videos by Howcast. And so you could say how to tie a tie, how to do this, how to do that. And there was a whole bunch of videos. Anyway.
We're Forest, born on the salon floor and built for and by hair and beauty professionals like you. Forest is your marketing, your reporting, your reputation management. You need one easy-to-use system that does it all. Forest, together we grow.
When you work with AI, though, it's not like, did somebody else solve this problem already? What you actually are getting it to do is, you're saying, I want you to think about, and I know it sounds weird telling AI to think about it. I want you to think about how to solve it. And it's kind of like you're saying, act like a person who knows how to already solve this problem and come up with 50 responses for me. And instead of it like searching the internet in case somebody already found 50 responses that already pre-did the work for you, it actually just does the work in real time for you. So Another example. So I just got to help you get your mind around this, okay? So think of it this way. If you were going to Italy and you said, what are the 50 best places in Italy? If I went on Google, I have no doubt that if I just searched 50 best places to visit in the country of Italy, that I'd find Rick Steves' guide, and I'd find all these other guides, and all these guides would exist, and then I have to sort through whose guide do I like the most.
Right.
Well, what if I search for something that doesn't exist on the internet? 50 of the best best restaurants in Roseville, California. Even then I might find that. But let's assume that I live in Penryn, the tiny little town of Penryn that I live in, that you grew up in, right? It's like, in Penryn, there's probably not that many places. So like there might not be somebody who wrote a blog about that, right? So if I ask ChatGPT, it's actually going to go do that work and look up all the restaurants and figure it all out and then come back to me in like 10 to 30 seconds with a report of all those things, like the blog post existed, but it didn't exist before I asked the question.
So crazy.
That's what people don't understand about what GPT is doing, right? So going back to what I'm saying is, instead of saying like, what we do inside the academy is very often we crowdsource things. Like we're crowdsourcing, okay? So we'll say things like, hey, I got this bad review from somebody online. Can you help me solve it? And then hundreds of other academy members jump in with their answer. That's called crowdsourcing. Okay. You could ask ChatGPT to say, I'd like you to come up with, like this would be a prompt. I'd like you to come up with 10 responses to this that make the client still feel good about our response and makes us look good on social media and actually solves and because we're willing to solve the problem. Like, go. And then it will come up with 10 responses and it will say, I'm really sorry you had this experience. And it's going to assume different types of personas and responses and give you 10 different options. And then you go, damn, that's kind of like asking the academy of the community of people, but it did a bunch of guesswork. And you might say 9 of those responses are stupid. I would never post that. So maybe you need to prompt it better. So then, but what if one of those responses is really good and you didn't even have to think of it and it just responded? You're like, I'm literally going to cut and paste that thing and just put it in there and I'm going to be done. So instead of crowdsourcing, you're AI sourcing the answer now. And what you and I have been doing, we've been playing with this, is this idea of like, we use it like a brainstorming buddy. It's not perfect. It doesn't always nail it. But like, you're like, oh, I really like that. Maybe we can tweak that a little bit, or maybe we can do this. So we've used it like a really good brainstorming buddy to help us come up with some ideas, and then we can give it some prompts, and we give it again, two-way learning. We give it feedback, it gives us feedback, we do it, and we're working it out together.
Gets our brain working
to solve it. So is this helping? I already gave a couple.
Yeah.
If you guys are finding value, comment helpful because I want to make sure we are getting this right.
For sure.
We got marketing. We got what else did I say? And Yelp responses. Those are the first two that I think most people are doing.
Are you still guessing what your color services are actually costing you? Guessing the cost of your services is eating into your profits. With Salon Scale, you can separate your parts from your labor and charge for every drop of color used. Stop letting your back bar drain your earnings. Click the link in the description to get 10% off of your first year or start your free trial today. Salon Scale. Profit starts with every mix.
If you have used ChatGPT or AI in any other way in your salon, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know how you're utilizing ChatGPT or AI in your salon. Another thing that I'd love to point out too is that we had a conversation. It's like not only that, but like when you're working with people, there's a lot of emotions and feelings involved. And one of the cool aspects of AI is that there's no emotions and feelings. You can say, no, that's completely incorrect. Do it differently, change it completely. And they're like, okay, no problem. Got this. And they just poop out something else.
Poop out something else. Yes. I think, I've kind of said this no problem thing, and it is really interesting about the non-emotional part of it. So if Kayla, I'll just use you and I working together as an example.
Sounds good.
If as we often do, right? Is that like, if I ask you to go write something for me, I say, hey, Kayla, go write me 3 pages of information, and you go off and you write it. It's going to take you hours to do that. You come back to me and go, here, Jason, what do you think? And if I go, oh, sorry, Kayla, I actually didn't ask you the right question. Actually, what I meant was this, go spend 3 more hours on it. You'd be like, what the bleep? Like, you'd be like, come on, Jason. Like, you could have asked me a better question. You're a moron. This is exactly how you talk to me. You're a moron. Exactly. You asked me the wrong question. Well, and you might not say that. You might go, oh, yeah, okay, no problem, Jason. Then you're going to go spend 3 more hours writing another thing.
Hoping I'm getting it right.
Hoping you get it right. And you come back to me and go, oh, yeah, I read all that. That's actually not what I meant again. What I really meant was this. By the second or third time, you're going to be like, Jason, go bleep yourself. Like, you're going to be so mad because you're like, you're like, you know what? You don't even know what you're asking, Jason. You have no business asking me this. Why would you waste my time? That doesn't happen with AI. So what's interesting is I could ask a question and it takes a long time. 10 seconds or whatever to spit out a bunch of information. I go, oh, that's not what I meant. I actually meant this. And it'll go, no problem. I don't even think it says no problem. It just feels like it'll literally say, I'm sorry, I guess I didn't understand what you meant. And then it spits out a whole bunch of other stuff.
For sure.
And then I go, actually, no, could you write it in this style instead of that? And it'll go, no problem. And it'll do it again. No problem. Do it again. And it is ruthless and relentless at just doing it again until it gets it right. Because it doesn't care that it did the work.
Yeah.
Whereas most people care that they spent all that time on it. So this is the really fascinating part. Remember when I said this two-way training thing? Because what I've learned is that it's allowing me to make mistakes in my learning, which, by the way, is how learning happens. We have to make mistakes to learn. So what's fascinating is I'm making mistakes in the way I'm asking the questions. It's making mistakes in the way that it's answering them. And both of us are learning just as fast with zero emotions attached to the amount of learning that we're doing. So it's actually learning the way babies learn. It's learning by making mistakes without the mental and emotional anguish that most adults have in learning. So I'm learning from it. It's learning from me. And it's going to happen real fast. Like what we are making years worth of progress in the last 3 months. And I think people don't understand how fast this thing is happening is that if you're not paying attention to it now, you're going to start getting years behind the learning curve instead of months. Like it's been 3 months, but in AI years, sorry, I just said in AI years, it's like dog years. It really is. Like I probably should say that somewhere is that, dog years, it's like, one people year is like 7 dog years because that dog's life expectancy. I think AI is the same thing, except I think that 1 year in AI is going to be like 10 years for most people on a tech curve. That's a weird thing to quote, but I really think dog years is probably a good start, but like we're cruising in AI. We're cruising.
It's crazy. Now, if you're listening and you're like, man, I still don't know. It's like, I know that AI can feel overwhelming. It's a lot. It definitely is a lot. And you've heard a lot of great things here today with Jason. Jason, thanks for chatting with me about AI today.
Has this been helpful? Have you learned?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I have learned so many things. And we have a lot of conversations about AI and I just definitely diving in. But if you still are hesitant, I would challenge you to think about your perspective. Like we have given you a whole different perspective to AI and you can run down the rabbit hole of it's going to take my job or, it's scary. It's taking all my information. But if you change your perspective, if you don't change your perspective, you're at the risk of being left behind. Yeah. This is what we're moving into. This is what the world's about to become. So
imagine trying to run your salon business without a laptop, without a cell phone, or without, if you're using Salon Scale, like it's a tool that you will need to use inside your salon. And the sooner you learn it, the better it will be. If you could have been one of the first salons that brought in a software company to do all your scheduling, you were ahead of the curve. If you were the first salon to bring in a front desk person or to automate the system and like using like mass text instead of like manually emailing everybody, like there's so many technologies that if you were one of the first people to bring in, yes, you'd have to have a steep learning curve, but you would be at the front line of adopting new tech. We're at that place now with AI.
Yeah. And if you want support, if you're like, okay, I'm going to dive into AI and you're like, but I want some people to be their support. Like the Academy is a great place to jump in and have a group of people who can support you through AI. We're constantly talking about AI. Jason, thank you so much for jumping on with me and talking about AI and all things. If you guys have any questions or found value, comment value in the comments or drop your questions. We will get to them and talk more about AI because it's here and we'd love to know what your questions are.
If you want to check out the course that we're running right now, it will be available to the public. You can get the course. Just type in the word course, I think is what you said earlier. Yeah. Type in the word course and you'll get access to it. And if you want to get updates and get texted every time we go live with the show, do me a favor and say show text in the comment section. And we'll make sure we can get you the show text.
Yeah. All right. And make sure you subscribe. Thanks for joining us today and have a good rest of your day. Talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Profitable Salon Owner Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave us a review, and check us out at ProfitableSalon.com for more episodes, content, and to help you turn your salon into the business you've always dreamt of.